So week 15, April 15th, 2018. So I had 4 trades put on last week, ending up scratch for the week. Had 3 losing trades and then a positive 3, so didn't make any money, but likewise didn't lose any. So we'll cover through these briefly, quickly. First one I had was the pound US dollar I spoke about in last week. That's basically the position I had in there. Pretty simply wrong. Market didn't move in my favour. I was expecting after this sort of lower lows on the H4 after sort of pulled down, sort of expected that to, so looking on, if I change that one to a daily briefly, I was sort of expecting that to continue and fall back down there, but fortunately didn't eventuate, but that's why we have stop losses. I'll probably leave that one sit aside for the week. The other one I had, which was also fair, was the euro pound. Probably a little bit trying to catch a falling knife with this one. So I sort of expected this sort of level through there to hold a little bit. Fortunately, sort of probably on the H4, so after that sort of corrective structure, sort of expected sort of that level to hold a little bit better than it did. Didn't. I sort of caught fairly quickly out as well. Just wrong on that one. I caught the wrong side of a news announcement on that. The other ones I had was the Aussie US dollar. This one was a short trade. I've changed my opinion on this now, and this week coming up, which I'll get into shortly, I'll consider a long on this pair coming this week. But essentially, the trade I had on was a short at that level. So I stopped out of that level. I was expecting that. That sort of blew that 77.40 level to hold and continue that sort of downtrend that we're seeing. That's since broken. We've sort of broken up clearly above that now. My bias has probably sort of changed just with that sort of strong break to a bullish one. So I'll possibly look to get long on a pullback to this sort of bit of a base building here, so I can get in long at sort of the bottom of that base. I'll consider a long trade on that. There's sort of plenty of room above it to run target wise. Should be able to comfortably sort of target that 5 or 6 to 1. But I'll see how it looks at the top of this pin bar. It might cash out at 3 to 1 if I manage to get filled early this week. The other trade I had, which was a winner, made up for all my other 3 losers for the week, was the long US dollar Japanese yen. So similar thing there. I got in pretty much again, pretty good entry just down at the bottom of that structure. So it just pulled back, and I've managed to. I cashed out for 3 to 1. I wasn't too happy to play that. I expected it to pull back a little bit further once I got to sort of these highs through there, which it has done. My bias on this is still bullish. Another one I'll consider this week if I can get it. I'll probably quite happy to take the same trade again if I can get entry down there, same as I did last week. I'll be happy to enter that again. Similar thing, probably chase it up to that 108.65 area. So those are the trades last week and the 2 I'm looking at. The other ones I'm looking at briefly this week. So aside from a pullback on the dollar yen to get long, and the Aussie dollar long as well. The other ones I'm considering or looking at is the Aussie yen, which sort of ties in with the Aussie long and the Japanese or yen short as well across the other pairs. Probably not so much, but if it does sort of happen to pull back to that 82 level, sort of it's pretty good base through there. I'll be happy to enter along. I don't think that's a high probability. I think it's on. I don't think it'll pull back that far enough for me to warrant an entry. Could consider here. I'll sort of see how it looks when it gets there, but I'd really like it to pull back to that 82 level, just give you that little bit more room to run, just as it is coming out of that sort of long downtrend. I'd like to see a retest of that level again, just for a second time, just to verify. Other one, US dollar Swiss franc. So looking at a long on this as well on a pullback. So this is the trade I almost had on last week. You can see the entry that I had there was sort of towards the bottom of this structure. Didn't quite get filled. Got missed on it. Again, not by much, unfortunately. But if it does pull back down into that area again, I'll consider. I'll be looking at getting long, probably similar to how that sits there. Probably might raise it up 2 or 3 pips to catch the bottom of those bars. But that's another one I'll be looking this week. The other one early on, which is probably the most prominent or highest chance of me getting in early this week, is the pound Aussie dollar, looking at a short, so sort of long the Aussie, short the pound. It is a little bit counter trend, this one, so it has sort of been coming up, but I am looking just at that sort of lower low here off that level. Zoom back out on the weekly. It is a reasonable level, and it's fallen a lot in the last few years, so I was sort of not expecting a large pullback or change of direction, but it hasn't come back and tested that 179 level since it's broken through, and I do believe it'll pull back to there. And with that lower low and that pin bar, I think that'll fit well. And that sort of line, there's also a internal sort of daily, 4-hourly pin bar sitting there as well. We do still have those lower lows. These bars are a little bit of a interesting one, but the downs have certainly been a lot more impulsive. So particularly after that daily pin sort of come down, it's taken a long time to sort of equal 2 bars movement. So I'm expecting that to fall, and that's probably one that I'm probably most likely to enter early this week, putting a stop somewhere there. That's probably where I'm sitting for this week ahead. So that's the week and looking ahead. So we'll touch base next week.